slow down early. Game 1, they were active first. Didn't have to be in Game 4. They could just play super chill. They did. Got to late game, and they were looking really good.
And it was a game where Cho'Gath wasn't there. Both games, Splyce had lost. Cho'Gath is part of the pick bans, Deficio. G2, by the way, right at the gate, they banned Rakan. After seeing what Mickey did to them in the previous game, I don't blame them.
And this is why the blue side for G2 might end up being the deciding factor here. The fact they can get rid of Rakan, they can first pick Jarvan as well, could be keys towards G2's win. Jarvan so far is 4-0 in this series. Whenever he's been left open and some of these 80 carries have been banned, people have locked into Jarvan first, and it's been a very successful pick every single time.
Well, let's see what they finalize. Not expecting that to be much different. What would you then do if you're Splyce?
So the Xayah, once again, becomes a champion you need to look at when there is a Jarvan locked in on the side, and she's the remaining mobility AD carry. The Gragas as well has been quite a power pick that we've seen traded back and forth between these two teams. Sejuani, though, from Trashy was extremely successful, but still, I think the Gragas is such a key pick still. And then again, if you want that mobile AD carry, it's Xayah you're looking for. They do get the Gragas for now. There's still been other AD carries kind of stepping up. We've seen Sivir, we've seen Jhin. Mixed success.
Yeah, I mean, Kobe's Jhin in the previous game worked fantastically.
Right, and Sivir in game 1, once she got to 6 items, worked really well. But we get the Xayah for the mobility.
I personally liked it because your prediction was true more than anything else. But the Gragas, Xayah, no big surprises there. Cassio has been a very pivotal pick for Perkz, and it is locked in. He's using the snake to kill the snakes, as it were. I've heard that before.
Should we get Orianna here from Senkooks against the Cassiopeia in the mid lane? So once again, he has a very strong late game where the Cassiopeia, a little bit like a Corki, sitting there trying to hammer away, really trying to get a lot of hits off, and then you gotta respect that tank that comes in with the shockwave, and if you don't have a flash, you most likely die. If you get to use your flash, you also die.
Well, we'll find out how well Perkz can get the damage done. His Corki in the previous game was so heavily punished by Trashy.
And let's get Cho'Gath ban again from Splyce. I don't think there's any need for them to give it over to G2, because it's been kind of a fight now about who can get the best late game team fight. And Cho'Gath is one of those tanks that just makes it so difficult. I did say before that the game 4 was the first time they had a strong late game.
Yeah.
Do want to correct that. Game 1, of course, they had a fantastic late game as well, but it was more based on this Camille Morgana combination more than anything. Now Splyce is just drafting like a purely, you know, strong team fight.
Game 4 was more the traditional late game, if you will.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah, exactly.
I get you, I get you. All right, so Cho'Gath off the table. I'm very happy to see that because that was the pivotal pick for expecting the top lane. Thresh is the reply.
And when I'm seeing this Cassiopeia Ashe now, G2 again, as I said, need to have these long form team fights where they can try and kill the front line. A support like Taric, in my mind, just goes really high up in value then for Mithy, because it's one of those champions who can actually protect his squishies for long enough that they can kill the enemy tank, and they don't have to walk around the shockwave, you know, as soon as the fight starts. Splyce were kind of thinking the same vein. They're looking at Braum to be the guy who stands in front of them and protects them. I want to see if Mithy wants to play this Taric, because I think it could actually be really successful with what they're drafting so far.
Okay, Tahm Kench is the next champion to ban from G2. That closes out phase 2. Splyce need to lock in their top laner and their support. If you don't know Wonder, he does not really like playing tanks. Definitely prefers the bruisers, the split pushes. And this Trundle could pivot.
Well, it definitely could go top lane, but here you can definitely play Taric. Like, this is not going to be that bad for you. An issue, though, for Ashe in lane is that Trundle can pillar behind Ashe, and she can't really run away. So it's very easy to set up trades in favor of Kobe down in the lane, and also to actually coordinate ganks with, like, a Gragas, because you just pillar behind Ashe, and she has to, like, respect that and probably flash away if there's someone else showing up. And we get Elise jungle coming in, so Jarvan will go top lane for him, and it is Alistar support. So Mithy wants to go back to the Alistar, was unsuccessful in game 4.
What does this mean for the Elise, though? Different flavor for G2, less of a hardcore frontline, and maybe moving away from this let's play to late. If Splyce are beating us in the late game, let's not go there.
Yeah, I think G2 are saying, you know what, we can actually get that early advantage. We still have a fine late game setup with Jarvan and Alistar. So with the Elise, we can try and snowball early on and see if there's some advantage to go over to G2. But the Elise pick was not super successful when Trashy played it. Trick has, as we said actually at the start of the broadcast, been kind of 50-50 on this champion. There have been some good early games and there have been some really bad early games on his Elise. So it's never really been his comfort.
No, it hasn't.
But he needs to do it now in this game here. If you want to have value as an Elise in this meta, it's early game.
And if Splyce can survive the early game or win it, they've got a team composition that scales very well.
Exactly. Like, I was kind of looking at Wonder being like, ooh, is this like a Jax game or something from him? But the way the series have gone is towards the 5-on-5 team fighting. That's why we like the Gnar here. You can still win the side lane split push, and you have Mega Gnar for big fights. So I think this pick is really good for Splyce. And G2, they're gambling with this Elise pick and moving the Jarvan to top lane blind.
Yep.
They are really gambling here with the last few picks, and Trick needs to show us a fantastic performance early on for this Elise to work.
All right, Trick, the pressure is on for G2 Esports to survive the quarterfinals. There's the team compositions. A reminder, the winner here will guarantee themselves a spot in Paris. If G2 lose this game, they will get themselves 20 championship points, be in that regional qualifier. And do you know what, Deficio? As we're loading up into the deciding game, after Silver Scrapes has played, do you know what season it is, Deficio? It's Game of Thrones season. And when it is Game of Thrones season, it does not heed well to be the king. The defending kings of Europe, G2 Esports, their throne is under attack. And Splyce are the team that want to dethrone the defending champions.
Sadly for Splyce, they only have snakes and not dragons, but maybe the snakes will be enough.
If you give the snakes enough time, they can evolve into a dragon. I'm sure it's somewhere in Pokemon, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Not sure how it works, but it's fine. Let's take it, run with it. Splyce, though, this game, are looking at G2's carries and saying, wow, we can kill these guys so easy in team fights. Like, Splyce will actually be very happy with this draft. And Mithy is giving us the cowbell. Normally, he does not do it.
No, he actually made a really big song and dance about how he doesn't really think he should be doing it. And today he is. It's game 5, the first time.
But back to the point here. Trundle Pillar, fantastic against champions with no dashes. Gragas, Body Slam, Flash. Mega Gnar engages, Shockwave. Like, there are so many abilities on the side of Splyce that just ruins the day of things like Ashe and Cassiopeia in these fights. If they do not have Flash available, they're such easy targets for Splyce. Last game was decided with Splyce finding a great Shockwave on the backline of G2 Esports. They can do the exact same thing in this game, even easier.
And the power of those Trundle Pillars is something that Splyce has fallen victim to.
Oh, yeah.
Che from H2K played a support Trundle that almost single-handedly controlled the game. The reason it wasn't single-handedly is because Jankos' Gragas also had barrels that were flawless. And now Splyce have got their hands on the Gragas and Trundle combination. Looking down the summoner spells really quickly. Heal for perks, Ignite for Mithy. So I want to see what Mithy can do in this early game, or what sort of mid-game plays he can set up to try and lead G2 to another semi-final.
Mithy likes to be a bit aggressive on the Alistar with the early trades. Could be one of the things he's looking for here, but Splyce actually leashed for Trashy on the blue buff. They're trying to kind of speed him up a little bit so he can get to his red buff as fast as possible, because otherwise there might be an Elise showing up, and that could ruin the day of a Gragas. So Trashy right now is off to a great start where he can actually get to his camps very quickly. He will just do Raptors as well, feeling confident that he's actually fast enough to take down all these camps, and do not fear Trick just yet. This hawk shot from Sven will spot him, flying across the map, seeing the Raptors and the red buff. So they know exactly where Trashy is, and Trick is in the river. The fact that red buff is not started yet by Trashy means there is a chance we get a fight around it. Trashy went for that little greedy play with taking the Raptors first.
Let's see what Trick can do.
He should place a ward though on the Gragas. Gragas should place a ward. Okay.
All right, Trick has warded up the Brambleback, so you can see when that gets started. Trashy skips his red buff and instead goes straight to Krugs. A little bit of a safer route, maybe realizing he's spotted out as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good adaptation from Trashy, meaning he can just secure the camps for himself. And right now he's not expecting Trick to still sit there, and he can go down and take that red buff with his ward in the brush as well to spot if Elise shows up. So it's very important, small things. but it can be key for an Elise to get off like a great early one-on-one invade to start getting ahead in the game, because once you kill the jungler, not only do you get gold, you also know he's not on the map, and you can actually go for a gank right after. But Trashy will be spotted here, taking the red buff.
And I want to see how well this early game plays out, because of course Splyce got advantages in the early game when their team composition favored it. This ward that was placed by Trick earlier, going to spot out Trashy, and it's G2's team composition that has a little bit more of a time limit on it.
Yeah, it really is. I think G2 eSports will not be the stronger late game team in this game here. They will have to rely on using Elise to actually get ahead in the early to mid game and try and use that and use the hard engage from mid and expect to keep forcing fights.
Right, let's see if they can surprise Splyce, of course. G2
Ooh,
won games 2 and 3. Perk's taking a lot of damage from this Thunderlord, Senkuk's Orianna. Manages to walk straight through the miasma and trading into a low mana Perks.
Trick is coming around. There is cleanse on Senkuk's. Really like that choice against the Elise.
Right.
Might have to use it.
Hiding inside the minion wave. Flash is available.
Ooh.
Sidesteps the cocoon.
Whoa.
Sidesteps the poison. Trick even takes a tower shot. Great moves by Senkuk's.
Febiven said on the analysis that he felt like Senkuk's has been outperforming Perks today. Good laning phrase from Senkuk's. Great team fighting, especially in the last game. What a sick performance on this Orianna. Went 8-0 and something like 7 assists as well. Perks, I'm feeling a little bit bad for him because there's so much pressure on him every time he plays, because he is a person who likes to talk a lot. He is a person who likes to build up the hype for a game. And when he's then sometimes struggling a little bit, a lot of people will attack him. But this is definitely a team effort from G2 eSports. It's not Perks being bad. It's actually the entire team just being evenly matched by Splyce. Yeah, and Splyce proving on an even footing, they actually can win the map plays. They can win the team fights at different times throughout the course of it. Senkuk's, by the way, his Orianna in previous games, he's really held the trigger on that shockwave. A lot of times I keep expecting it, keep waiting to see it, and he delays, he stalls, sometimes too late. But it adds that extra element of doubt if you are G2 eSports. When is Senkuk's going to do it? Because it's not that obvious or not that readable. And Trick not going to be able to punish Wonder. Wonder shoved the wave, recalled, saves his TP, crucially, and we'll get back in here not losing a whole lot. Well, he's on his way back. He probably will ward before he goes into lane, so he just walks in and wards. He's going to get cocoon. One with Trick here. Insta-cocoon! Insta-cocoon! Venomous Bite comes down. Wonder's actually going to turn around some damage. I didn't actually think that was going to happen. The thing is, for Wonder, it's fine if it's just a 1v1 trade he's taking. It's not Jarvan and Elise. Trashy was around as well, so smart play, just walk in and ward first. Then you can go back to your lane. Trashy's farmed himself up a 300 gold lead, by the way. Cleared out that jungle relatively well, hidden inside. And more importantly, the Elise early gank, not been successful. Right. A lot of the pro players, they always talk about when you play against Elise, if you can avoid dying, you know, to the very first gank she pulls off around level 3, you're off to a great start. Then you can actually start getting proper vision down on the map, and you can track her much easier. It's always hard in the early game to always find where the jungler is and avoid this like potential gank. But now that you can actually see control wards being on the map because you've gone back to base at least once or twice, and you can start getting, you know, better setups where you can find Trick. And now they can ping him out and say, yeah, he's topside, watch out. Yeah, walk straight over that ward. That was placed. Splyce have got themselves a 600 gold lead already at 7 minutes, just by clearing out mostly the jungle. Cobby and Mickey doing a good job shoving Sven and Mythian as well. That Trundle, the threat of the pillar, is so difficult to deal with. Yeah, knowing Sven, he hates his life right now. He hates the fact he has to play Ashe here. That ulti did not connect onto Senkuk's. Yeah, optimistic. Senkuk's able to turn around. But back to Sven hating his life. He knows in this game it's not about him. It's going to be really difficult for him to be that main carry he likes to be due to all that CC from Splyce, blocking the Ashe from getting in. If he can land crucial arrows, that's how he can help his team, especially in the mid game. But it will be difficult for him to be that big late game carry. And you can feel the tension in game 5 here. The first BO5 to go all the way. Does Dragonair into Dragonite count as a snake into a dragon? That's an eel, that's not a snake. Yes, it does. Lol, relinquished. Thank you for proving, and that's what Splyce are trying to do. Evolve into their super form, become a dragon, and take down the defending champions. I mean, it would be a monumental upset for the European LCS if G2 were to not even advance from the quarterfinals. It's actually hard to kind of imagine it. Coming into the split after that MSI performance, everyone was like, yeah, G2 eSports, they're going to win Europe. Like,
Again.
Look how good they are. And of course, they're just going to continue. But then Fnatic showed up big time, knocked G2 down to second place in Group A. That's why G2 are playing this quarterfinal.
Whoa.
Twitter is on Splyce's side, but people love the underdog story.
They do indeed. Kobe did not fire that Featherstorm early enough.
He was knocked out by Mithy.
To root down Mithy. That means a good trade, but no summoner spells traded, just ultimate for ultimates.
Trashy around the mid lane. We'll find Expect.
Or the other way around. Expect Cataclysm downs onto Trashy at the end of the body slam. Flash comes out and Trashy saves his life. Nobody has died yet.
It's tense. It's G2 eSports who's looking to create the plays. Splyce, they're more than happy just scaling. They're like, yeah, guys, let's have a little agreement here. We don't kill each other for another like 15, 20 minutes and we just keep farming. That's great. It's on Trick. And the rest of G2 to force something with the Elise was spotted early on. No successful ganks. Right now, there's no wards on top side except for the two around the mid lane here from Senkuk. So there is an easy path towards Wonder and his lane. Trick might be in there now as we don't see the vision. Nope, still doing his grunt.
All right, come on, attack into Perks. This time around on his Cassiopeia. Gone for that Catalyst and Tia. Not going to go for the Mask build, which we saw a couple games ago. Gets donated the blue buff.
Oh, he can still do it.
Oh, yeah. Not first item then to specify.
His problem before was the fact that he didn't get the early tier fast enough. So it slowed him down a little bit. But he's still on track to get his mask. He's going to be fine in the beginning if he wants it.
Yeah.
Trick, though, on this Elise, we'll go back and... yeah. Sucks.
Oh, just short. Just short.
I wonder, though, if Trick actually should have gone into Moby Boots and just said, you know what, I need to gank, and be super active. I didn't do it this early, but top lane, where Wonder is just pushing down, because Trashy shows up on his side every time. He's like, bro, I got you. Go, push, be annoying.
Trashy and Trick have been on the same page as well all series long. They've kind of been responding in the same areas when possibilities have shown up for 2v2s or counter ganks. That's a good sign for Splyce if Trashy continues to play well. He's still outpacing his opposite number in the jungle, plus 400, 500 gold. And
Perks.
Mithy, right now, he's about to find Mickey, or the other way around.
Perks get his magic resistance now. Will just complete that into the Abyssal Mask. Will keep him safe against both the Gragas and the Orianna. Can explain once again, once he actually completes it, why it is a good item for him. Mickey gets a ward over the wall and... Oh,
So
I'm feeling that first gank.
Deficia, where is the first gank going to come from? Where is the first kill in your mind? I know Trick is the one that really wants to make it happen.
So there's Cleanse Orianna in the mid lane, making it harder for Trick to execute the first gank there. Bot lane, you have double CC for G2 eSports. Could be a choice to go straight for Mickey, see if you can lock him down. Change CC him with Cocoon, arrows, like Alistar combos. That should be a kill onto him. Top lane is, we've seen Trick hover around. You normally really want to snowball your top laner, but because Trash is always there, always following the Elise, he can't actually execute the gank, so he might have to look elsewhere. He's bot lane now, but he's fairly low. Right. And this Splyce bot lane is pretty defensive.
Yeah, both of them got their flashes up. Featherstorm as well for Kobe. But here comes Trick, so maybe this is where they're going to look.
Yeah, but you can see how far back Splyce are playing. Whenever they don't have information of where Trick is, they step back. They don't go for any trades they don't have to. They're respecting the fact that Elise needs to snowball. Trick did not find his way into the pit, so he just walks around. That's a cooler way anyway.
As we mentioned a little bit earlier, Splyce on the verge of pulling off one of the biggest upsets in EU LCS playoff history. About 4 weeks ago, they let go of their stage coach, Jeeves. Their manager, Hans, has been on stage with them. At the beginning of the day, we heard one of the hype videos where they said, even without a coach, we know what we got to do. They've had a few weeks of practicing in the dark, and now Splyce, with a scaling team composition, are even at 13 minutes. I think the Chomp stole away the Scuttle. And Splyce looking to really, really upset G2 eSports.
Trick did the only thing he could do, though, as he didn't find any ganks. He just took the Drake, used their push in their lanes to actually secure an important objective, a Mountain Drake, for the potential Baron fights we will get later. When you have a Cassiopeia and Elise, you already have a great Baron comp. Add in a Mountain Drake, and Splyce, they're just sitting a little bit out of position. The Baron can die very quickly, and that could be one of the ways for G2 to close out the game before they go full late. Mickey and Copy right now getting some damage on the bot lane tower, and Abyssal Mask is completed for Perks.
All right, 1,000 gold is the lead for Splyce. They've just farmed this up across multiple lanes by small advantages. The chip damage on the towers. Wonder is trying to poke down Expect. Cobby and Mickey are doing a good job of shutting down Sven and Mythian, or at least keeping them under control.
And you mentioned before how Splyce let their coach go. There is a weird tradition in Europe where when teams get rid of their coaches, they get really good and they start winning. Like,
who else did that?
I mean, Fnatic it worked really well for. You remember when Rocket didn't have their head coach on stage for one series, and out of nowhere they just won that series as well. Freddy122 was actually the guy stepping in. Undefeated coach. We have a lot of undefeated coach/managers here in EULCS.
Right now on the analyst desk, Prolly is shaking in his boots as Febiven looks at him and says, "Hey, buddy, we're in the semifinals."
Oh, we need to win this one.
But more seriously, Splyce, they're very comfortable. They're very happy. Trashy has been famous for a long time for his Gragas play and his impact in the mid to late game. The barrel already gets the flash from Perks.
I love that play so much because he doesn't want to invest a body slam flash on trying to trade flash for flash with Perks. So he just throws the ulti knowing Perks needs to flash this no matter what. So he literally just uses an ulti for a massive summon spell, and he's still saving his body slam flash for a return gank.
Oh, beautiful play from Trashy and Splyce. They get the summoner advantage. Tower first blood as well extends the gold lead. There's some golf claps here in Berlin.
The Elise team lost the first tower, have not executed any ganks, and Splyce's late game is still looking fantastic.
Oh man, look at this, the minion wave dying. Splyce looking to take their second tower. That minion wave will crash into the tower in just a moment. 2 towers to 1. Okay, Rift Herald was picked up by Trick, so this could potentially unlock mid lane if they use it correctly. But it looks like there's going to be a dive onto Senkux. Petrifying Gaze comes out. I don't think it found the stun. Cleanse and Flash is available. Mythy gets chunked down. Forced to use that Unbreakable Will. He's now running for his life. Flash defensively as Wonder arrives, and nobody has died yet.
Still for Splyce, 2 bot lane towers in their favor. Yes, they lost the Drake early, and yes, they lost the Rift Herald, but getting those towers is more than fine for them.
All right, see what happens now. 15.5 minutes in. Splyce are fully grouped up in the mid lane. Expect coming around from the side. Good cocoon onto Senkux. He holds onto the cleanse. Deficio. The tension continues to build here. The pressure is mounting on G2. They're 2,000 gold down. They're losing control of their map, and Splyce already starting to group up.
And they do have the Ash Arrow from Sven. Follow-up engage from Mythy. No flash from him, sadly, but it's still enough to start a fight with Expect as well. If G2 can find one crucial pick, they can still get a lot of objectives after there. A lot of towers right there, right in front of them. Bot lane tower, mid lane tower. A Drake will spawn soon. Like, all these things will be crucial for them to start really snowballing this game. But they need someone from Splyce to actually overextend, to get caught out. And Splyce has been playing so far back in this game. They've been playing so safe that it's not really been any openings for G2 to punish.
Oh man, what a great showing here for Splyce. G2 start to worry, start to panic, maybe. We'll see how well they handle themselves in the next few minutes. There's still the opportunity to find picks. Elise and Ashe and Alistair, so good at that. But I mentioned right at the beginning of the game, Deficio, G2, they can still qualify for Worlds through championship points, even if they crash out now. Only, I believe, Fnatic and Misfits will be able to overtake them. Because, of course, Unicorns of Love have already lost.
I don't even think G2 thinks about Worlds right now. They think about winning another split in Europe.
Yep.
Imagine if you're G2 after winning 3 times in a row, and then Fnatic comes back in, and suddenly they look like the favorites to win the whole thing. No, you want to prevent that. They were the ones who stopped Fnatic from winning EULCS in the first place.
Yep. Took the throne, haven't given it back. And arguably, the fan perception and expectation is that Fnatic will win the split. Fnatic, of course, waiting in the semi-finals. If Splyce win this game, they will in fact face Fnatic. So very, very tough opponents ahead. And you know what? Hell, screw it. If Splyce can take down one king, they can take down another, that's for sure.
I mean, Misfits probably saying the same thing, you know, they're like, yeah, we can do the same, you know, we want to go all the way to the final. It would be quite unexpected to see Splyce and Misfits make their way in, but at this point, anything can happen in the LCS playoffs. This game here, Perkz is trying to hold down the mid lane while G2 are using Sven and Mithy to push a side lane. They need to push that side lane in and then roam towards mid lane if they want to create a play around the mid tier 1 tower, try and force Senkooks away. But this cleanse on Orianna is in the way. They can't just arrow onto Orianna from long range to try and kill her.
I want to see if Splyce, how quickly they can take that tower, because it was a game 1 where they dilly-dallied around for a very long time.
But Splyce don't have to do anything.
Yep.
They can chill. They're fine. Trick is actually top lane right now as they're split pushing Elise.
Yep, as you do. Not going to work out in his favor. I didn't actually see where the Rift Herald was used.
This might be the fight though for G2. Look, they're coming from the flanks here. Alistar topside, so is Elise. Splyce got the tower and they just instantly disengage. Do not wait around. And now they have their own tower here. Great call from Splyce. Secure Drake and mid lane tower while G2 were busy pushing out top lane.
Oh man, Splyce on the verge of making history. 19 minutes in, no first blood yet, but it is a 2,000 gold lead. Splyce were able to pick up the Ocean Drake, and Cobby's down. He didn't even get a chance to use his Featherstorm or his Flash.
One of those picks we mentioned with G2 eSports having Elise and Ashe, like they need some of these here to actually get a numbers advantage and maybe try and get down a tower. There's no Drake alive, it's too early for a Baron. But if we get top lane tower, that's at least some gold.
All right, Mithy moves forward, but there's too much threat here from Splyce. Sven's waiting for the minion wave. Mega Gnar, by the way, on Wonder has already procced, so he's going to need to chill out for a little bit before he can Gnar back. Tower number 2 falls in favor of G2, and this game is balancing on a knife's edge.
Important for G2 to get back in the game. Want to keep creating picks like the one we saw just before. We see a replay of the Rift Herald being started.
Interrupted in that.
I was like, hey, we never saw a charge, and now we know why. Senkooks, the hero.
Thank you very much, observers. All right, Trick and the rest of G2, they're waiting in the bush. Look, the blue trinket will spot out a control ward.
And still got to respect that pick potential. If you face check this early in the game, you will most likely die. Trashy getting caught out.
All right, Trashy's going to be able to flash away. Body slams to safety. Sven took a lot of damage from Cobby. Cobby now uses that flash that he did not use earlier. Teleport coming down for Wonder. Cobby continues to chase Trick. The Krugs not going to get called in just yet. Good Cocoon comes out. That slows it down.
Whoa.
On the back end, Senkooks is caught. He didn't even use his flash. Expect now trying to disengage. He runs into a Cobby. Cobby calls back the feathers. Gnar into the wall. Gets himself a kill on to expect. This is one of these chaotic team fights that we keep seeing. Perkz is being run down by Mickey. He's already used his Petrifying Gaze. And Wonder takes out Trick.
So in the end, Splyce still win the fight. Trashy had to run out so early because he was chunked down. Perkz, no flash.
Oh, Perkz is going to be in trouble. No ultimate either. Easy kill here for Splyce.
And man, we are looking at a Splyce upset. They are winning the first few fights in this game. We know how great the late game setup is from these guys. We've seen them beat G2 eSports in the late game twice today already. And now they're winning early on against the Elise on the side of G2 eSports. That fight was supposed to be a pick for G2 onto Trashy. But then Cobby actually comes in like, it's a very weird fight where everyone is kind of coming from different angles, but Cobby gets so much damage on Sven first. They're kind of trading the HP of Sven and Trashy. And now with the re-engage, Cobby's all alone. He's fighting 1v1. While Senkooks will die because he can't actually flash away due to miasma from Perkz, well then Perkz is not really able to join the fight after, because you see here the trade happens, everyone walks away, and the no flash snake can't follow. Perkz get blocked as well by Mickey, great trundle pillar, and it actually allows Cobby to just sit up here with Wonder and take down Mithy as well.
All right.
Trashy. Sorry, Elise. Trashy Elise, just kill the jungler.
I did that earlier, calling Trashy Trick. So associated the players of the champions from the regular season. Wonder, by the way, he's got himself the Frozen Mallet to complement the Black Cleaver. He's already in control of the lane and the side lane. And this is just going to give him even more power. And Splyce look to accelerate this lead and try to shut down G2. Now for G2, in order to come back into this Deficio, it really is all about finding those picks, isn't it? Or trying to catch Splyce unawares.
Yeah, almost at this point, you're looking at G2 trying to force a fight around Baron before it's too late. It does require them to get mid lane control first and actually push Splyce back, but you're sitting against 2-item Orianna who can just instant wave clear. So Splyce is not going to let them do that. They're not going to let G2 set up for Baron and then create this pick where you have no vision, you get hit by Elise Cocoon or Ashe Arrow and you die. No, they're just going to say, you know what, we can control the vision around the Baron area. And that right now looks to be one of the ways for G2 back in the game.
We've heard in the past how when the backs are against the wall, Trick has been one of the voices to pick up the team emotion. Many months ago, Trick now is the man who didn't find an opportunity to have an early game impact because Splyce just had good vision. They had good play. They didn't put themselves in a space where they were going to get countered. And now it's going to be up to Trick and Mithy and maybe even Sven's arrows to try and claw back this game for G2.
Yeah, because you see Splyce do exactly what we mentioned here. Like, they push out mid, they go right back in instead of it. They don't, like, just fully reset. They don't allow G2 to actually get any control. They're now the ones starting the Baron. If they secure this, G2 eSports won't have many ways to defend.
All right, Baron's down to 50%. It's not going the fastest. G2 will be able to contest. Teleport coming down by Expect. He has cancelled it. Ash Arrow not fired by Sven. Trick as the target. He gets knocked backwards. Repels up, drops back down, not into the wall. Senkux kills Trick. Featherstorm is fired out, but Sven is able to walk to safety. Knock up, flag and drag. Kobe is caught. He's not dead yet. Finally taken down. But Wonder gets a reply and to Expect. It's a 2-for-1. Keep your eye on Sven and Perks. Perks is being run down by Senkux. He's down. Now Sven follows. Splyce.
It's happening, Trevor.
For the ace. Mithy's the target. He's trying to delay, trying to interrupt, and Splyce are in the lead.
It's another team fight in favor of Splyce. They were the ones starting the Baron. They saw the TP, they disengaged, took the team fight, and we're just seeing how hard it is for Perks and Sven to beat carries against all that CC on the side of Splyce, and just no mobility on the side of G2. Take a look at the fight here. So TP gets cancelled, and now they no triggers, no flash, so it's a great engage from Trashy, get an early kill on the Elise. Yes, you have to invest an ulti for it, still worth it. Sven, there's nothing he can do.
No.
First you get pillared, then you flash, then you get exhausted. And he's so far out of the fight that he's not really providing any damage.
It is just clean plays. And of course, Perks being shut down by Senkux here as well.
Same deal. As soon as Perks is trying to enter the fight, he needs to constantly watch where he's actually going. There's no freedom for G2 eSports in this game. The composition from Splyce is so good. Game 5, without a real coach, they managed to win the pick and ban phase against G2 eSports.
Oh, such a fantastic turnaround. G2, they committed to the early game gamble. That Elise was locked in the second phase of picks, followed by the Alistair, and it has not found any picks. It has not found the opportunity. Now, G2 are still 2,000 gold down, but it's the scaling in favor of Splyce, the tools that they have, that makes this a risky play.
All right, they're calling for the Baron rush right now. Wonder's on his way. Mithy's behind Splyce, up near the red buff.
Mithy, what is he gonna do? Wonder goes in. That was a flash knock, found no target.
Mithy's coming from behind.
Splyce are slightly grouped up. If Senkux or Kobe get caught out, they're in trouble. That's a stun! All of a sudden, Senkux is down. Wonder is down. G2 will not go quietly. They get a knock up onto Kobe. He's the next target. And G2 have just found a way back into the game.
Despite all the issues for G2 eSports with winning team fights, Mithy hides behind the Baron, sneaks in, gets a great flank off to the carries of Splyce, and now G2 will secure the Baron.
What is this series? G2 fall behind, and after 25 minutes of perfect play from Splyce, they whiff, they get caught out.
The unseen cow is the deadliest, and Mithy just showed that in this engage here. Once we get it again, like, notice just how he is actually able to get onto the carries. Like, first thought of it, Wonder comes in, has flash ready, but is not getting onto the carries of G2. Flashes in, everyone will disengage from it, and now...
Barrel knocked him away.
Oh, actually, you're correct. Great play there. And then Mithy gets the flank onto the back line. 2 carries are kept busy, and everyone from G2 can just flash in and kill them. This is what they needed. They're so tired of them being zoned away by the Trundle Pillar, by the Orianna. This was Mithy finding the engage.
Trashy and Wonder, counter synergy there. The explosive cask just sends some people to safety. How pivotal that might just be. The damage from the last team fight on your screen, of course. Ocean Dragon secured by Trick and Sven.
Yeah, had G2 lost that game, it would have been over. Yeah. Like, there would have been no way back for them. They would have probably lost the Baron after it. The fact they just won that game gave them a second life, and they're trying to use that to actually beat Splyce.
G2 have just climbed into the gold lead as we get closer to the 30-minute mark. Splyce all of a sudden have to defend. Remember, scaling, tools, team fight, a lot of that is still in their favor, as long as they don't concede too much. And that is, of course, ever the optimist thing to say.
Well, it is an important thing to highlight that the issues they had before are still there for how they're going to play fights.
Yep.
They just have a bit of a buffer right now with the Baron to try and get a gold advantage, get an item advantage, and then try and use that to win the following team fight and see if you can close out the game.
Man, will G2 win the series? Will G2 go on to the semifinals? Remember, if G2 win, due to the seeding rules, they'll actually face off against H2K. Fnatic will play Misfits. That's the way this will work. If all of a sudden G2 can turn this 3,000 gold lead into a win. Baron is still up for another minute and 20 seconds. Ash Arrow catches onto Senkux. That's where the cleanse comes in hugely valuable. Youngbuck, coach on screen, gonna be happy with how Miffy played that game. And again, Deficio, I want you to remind all our viewers why Miffy ended up being voted as the All-EU LCS Pro #1.
Clutch plays like the one we see here. Great shot calling from him as well. But at the moment, it's all on the entire G2 lineup. Miffy will not always find a flank like the one we saw just before. Perks is another person we have to look at. Rough series so far, up and down, but if you get one of those big flash ultis from a Cassiopeia in the late game, that can also be enough for G2 to win the fights. And that's the important thing. Like, it's not like their composition can't win late game fights. It's just much harder when you're lacking that extra mobility versus all the zoning and crowd control like from Splyce's side.
Playing on hard mode.
Extra hard mode.
Extra hard mode when you don't get an advantage in the early game. So 30 minutes in, 2 Dragons to 1. Down in kills, but up in gold. That's where G2 find themselves. Looking down the itemization, by the way, Trick, Proto Belt, Runic Echoes, Leandries. I mean, he didn't get an early advantage, but he's gotten the early build.
He's definitely trying to be a threat in these fights here. He's not going for like full tank Elise and just being a little, trying to be a small, like little meat wall in front of his carries. Clearly, he's actually valuing their not pure one-shot potential, but at least the burst potential of this build to see if he can do something in fights. If he's getting onto a squishy target, he can definitely do a lot of damage.
All right, let's see what can happen here. G2 are now sieging up onto this inhibitor turret. When G2 have overcommitted in the past, Splyce have been able to win team fights. Splyce have had phenomenal team fights this series. And that's what they're looking for those opportunities to find a way in.
That Baron, though, was so huge for G2. 4,000 gold ahead now, based on that one team fight and the Baron itself. But Splyce did not lose any inhibitors. The entire base is still alive. No vision, though, up here in the topside jungle. Miffy, Perks, and Trick hiding in there. No blue trinket available either.
So scary for Splyce. They haven't had any vision in the jungle for a little while. I don't even know where G2 is.
Now we do.
All right, so what does Splyce do now, Deficio? Baron has worn off. Splyce all of a sudden is the team that is, and has been, defending from G2. Maybe they find their opportunities back into this game.
I mean, it's kind of thing, like the game plan doesn't really change that much for Splyce because they're still looking just for the pure 5-on-5 team fights. This late in the game, it's really hard to utilize full Gnar split push when the enemy team just can hard engage in the mid lane. Like the TP animation and so on, like it takes long. So it takes a lot of time, meaning that if your Gnar is not in position to TP in instantly when a fight breaks out, he might not even be there in time. So it's always like a few pushes on the side lane, then you walk into join your team with 5 and you're sitting 5 versus 5 against each other, and it just comes down to execution in fights. G2 try to use the Baron to get a bit of an item advantage. You see right now, if you go back to the items, that Perks, as an example, is sitting with just half an item more than Senkux.
Yeah, I mean, Senkux, by the way, just picked up his death cap.
Big one for him, but also look at Sven, half an item more than Corby. So the Baron team fight gave them the towers that now gave them a small item advantage, and they need to use that to win the next fight. All
right, let's see whether or not this arms race works out, and if Trick's kind of assassin Elise itemization becomes useful. Remember, Corby, that Feather Storm, if it is used to dodge an Ash Arrow or Petrifying Gaze, then all of a sudden, Trick has got a very juicy bird to sink his fangs into. Teleport's available for Wonder. He's pushing this bottom lane, and just look at the vision from G2. They have absolute control of this northernmost quadrant.
Oh, nice dodge.
Sidestep between the uprights, and that's a goal.
Yeah, Splyce can't really face check anything without Wonder there, because they need him instantly for when the fight starts. They're trying to buy time. Miffy's trying to flank again.
All right, Mickey doesn't get caught up by the knock-up. Wonder's now completing the teleport into the mid lane. Mickey realizing he doesn't really want to face check. Control ward's going down. Pillar of Ice comes up. They'll slow down the retreat.
Well, Mickey needs that pillar towards the back line, towards Perks or Sven. Splyce used the TP, realized very quickly they couldn't actually keep Wonder in the bottom lane. Mickey right now is recalling. Ooh, that could have been risky.
Close. Not enough vision for G2. Okay, so no teleport for Wonder. Baron is alive in 8 seconds, and it's near absolute vision control for G2. If Splyce wanted to go for a Drake, it's a low-hanging fruit. It's a cloud. It's not the most exciting. And that's a flash forward from Cobby. Gets the flash out of Sven.
Yeah, no flash from Sven now. There's still ulti from Cobby in the fight. Big difference right now in how you can escape a potential engage. Mickey can pillar onto Sven, and they can just dive every single member onto that AD carry. But right now, they're looking for Trick and Perks.
Oh man, G2 are way split up. That's a petrifying gaze over the wall. Perks is going to go down. Ash Arrow, it catches onto Cobby, but Perks loses his life. Cobby gets dunked down in return. It's now one carry apiece. Senkax has already fired the shockwave. Cataclysm comes down from Expect. The Gnar gets pulled out, knocked back, goes sideways. Everything's going wrong here for G2. Expect goes down. Trick is going to get chased and slowed down here by Mickey and those Pillars of Ice. So far, it's a 1 for 2. But Senkax and Trashy and Mickey are trying to shut him down.
They want to kill the jungler, Trevor, so they can take Baron.
While the repel and the flash will help out. Trick flashed for a kill. Let's see how much time he can buy. Command attack, command protect, all the tools trying to slow things down. Kill secured by Trashy, 50-second death timer. Splyce could look for Baron.
Yeah, 30 seconds on Expect here, no teleport. Still no flash from Sven. Wonder.
Oh, Wonder's in a lot of trouble. Manages to get the Gnar, manages to get the stun. Sven takes a lot of damage. Body slam comes in from Trashy. Senkax secures the kill. Now Mithy's running for his life. The attacks and the dissonances are running him down. Shockwave's available to Senkax, and he actually uses it to burn down Mithy. This just sets him up for a faster Baron.
It's only Perks alive. He's actually on the way to try and stop the Baron, but there are 4 members from Splyce with full HP. On all of them, there should be nothing Perks can do. He will just take the blue buff, take a few jungle camps. This is Splyce Baron.
Oh, Splyce Baron, Splyce back in control. The upset is back on the cards. 3-time champions, back to back.
And every single team fight, you can see how hard it is for G2. Before this even started, Sven had lost his flash, and the rest of G2 was still standing on the top side. Splyce realized and went for the engage. They caught out multiple members, on the wrong sides of the fight. Yes, they get 1 kill with Perks, but now there's not really any damage left because Sven can never get close enough to deal damage on this Ashe without a flash. So he just has to volley, walk away, and see his teammates die.
Oh man, Trick bought a lot of time. Almost got Mickey in the bottom of your screen in the picture-in-picture. You can see that the Cloud Drake was secured there by G2. Expect was able to escape. But that is a very, very small victory when you consider Splyce get another Baron. They've now got the tools to shove these waves in. And there's not the greatest of tools to defend against a Baron-empowered 5-man Splyce.
Even bigger problem for G2 is the fact that if they get pushed in, they can't really face check anything against all the engage on the side of Splyce. So they have to just kind of surrender the entire jungle very quickly and sit really far back on the map. Splyce right now are spreading out to take that top lane tier 1 tower that is still alive. Some free gold for the team. Double cannon for Cobby. Should be an easy one.
Yeah, very easy tower to take down. And huge thank you to all NA/LCS fans who are still sitting with us. CLG will be taking on Envy once this game wraps. But you have the pleasure of seeing one of the biggest upsets in EU LCS playoff history. G2, they looked unstoppable for so long. And now they're on the verge of having their Nexus knocked over. Splyce just have one last hurdle to clear.
And this Splyce story could be so awesome again. Last year when they came in to the LCS, first split, spring split, didn't do anything, didn't even make playoffs. Second split, they became one of the best teams in Europe. They made it to the final, they made it to Worlds. That was after they picked up Mickey. Same guys staying together.
Yeah.
Another year, spring split once again. It's a bit of an issue. They're not really achieving anything. They drop out in quarters after getting reverse swept by Misfits. And now this one, everyone kind of said, you know what, G2, massive favorites. And Splyce, with the same 5 guys who've been working together for so long now, are actually beating them.
Oh, such a great story. 5 players that really are greater than the sum of their parts. And individually, each one of these players has had shining performances throughout the course of the split. Cobby, by the way, one of the quieter AD carries, but always reliable. Senkax has had the best LCS split of his career.
100%.
In terms of performance, and now Splyce, 30 seconds left on the Baron. They're looking at this inhibitor turret. Where are the rest of the lanes? Looks like top is pushing towards G2. Splyce, they're not going to commit to this one just yet, Deficio.
We're going to wait for another round of big objectives to be on the map. Elder Drake coming up, Baron will come up in a few minutes as well. Splyce's buff will just run out about now. And we are still so even here that one team fight can decide the game towards G2, towards Splyce. It doesn't even matter then what your draft was or what happened early on in this game. If you win that last team fight, that's all you care about.
Yep. Of course, for G2, it has been a trying split. MSI really revealed some cracks in the squad that looked flawless. They continue to struggle international stage, came back after a small hiatus in week 1 and 2, and never really regained that top level. We saw little glimmers of it here and there. Beaten by Fnatic in week 10, having their backs against the wall. They're behind in gold, behind in kills, behind in every metrics that matters. And now they somehow have to find a miracle.
Still waiting for one of the big objectives to spawn. You can see Splyce are staying around the mid lane. They don't want to just rush down one lane and risk getting caught out. This is a pure 5-on-5 game where the one person getting caught out and losing it for his team, oh man. That is the one. That's one person you're going to feel real bad for.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see who it's going to be. Elder
It might
Dragon.
not be anyone. It could just be 5-on-5. Perfectly executed team fight from both sides.
Elder Dragon will be spawning in 2 minutes. Baron, probably about a minute after that, roughly. And you can see the gold graph over time. Plus 4K to G2 eSports. Swings back in control of Splyce after those team fights around Baron and then Baron itself.
We're going to have all the summoner spells ready for the next fight as well. All the ultis are available. One big clash between the two teams. Elder Drake is only one Ocean Drake for Splyce, so it's not the biggest buff for them. G2 could actually surrender it if they don't feel ready to fight around it. It's way better for G2 to get it with their 3 Drakes.
Yeah, and of course, we talked a lot about the individual sort of team stories of these two squads. But G2 and Splyce are actually huge practice partners for the longest time. On stage and off stage, they've got a history and a legacy that goes back well over a year at this point. Last summer, it was the final here in the EU LCS. Now it's a quarterfinal. Some of the other squads have picked up. So let's take a look at this. 50 seconds until Elder, 110 until Baron. I'm looking at Vision and Baron. Vision for the objectives. And Splyce are pushing in.
Pushing in to try and secure it. To add to your point, you know, about the teams joining at the same time and being practice partners, like, I always felt like Splyce were kind of the little brothers.
Yes.
G2, they were the ones to win the split. They were the ones to kind of represent Europe, you know, at MSI and these events, and it wasn't Splyce. And now Splyce had the chance to, you know, throw this big brother out of the house, take over.
Well, let's see whether or not they can, because it's still 42 minutes in, and I don't yet feel like G2 have lost this game. It still feels
no, it's so even still.
Very close.
I still personally favor Splyce's comp, but again, it comes down to execution right now.
Right now, the execution call is mid-lane style. Trick waiting around the side. He's fired out the cocoon, waiting for the cooldown. The unseen cow is the deadliest. That's something I've heard Deficio say this game. So I'm keeping my eye on Mithy. Where does he find his engages? G2 eSports, they're not too worried about this Elder Dragon, but they don't really want to give it away for free. Starting to group up. Asho is available for Sven. The engage comes out from Expect. Perks is coming over the wall. He's managed to find Senkax. Senkax, the shockwave, catches two, but he's shut down. Elder Dragon stolen by G2 as well. They've got 3 dragons. All of a sudden, Splyce are being stomped. G2 win the fight, they get the buff, and now the map is theirs.
That was such an insane flank from Perkz. A man who's not been performing this series, then ends up pulling off the crazy flank, gets onto Senkux, kills the Orianna before we even got to see any damage really coming in from his side other than just on a bunch of tanks standing right in front of him. G2 eSports are taking the Baron as well. This could have been a perfect fight where Splyce engages to get the great shockwave on Sven or Perkz, but instead it was a flank from a Cassiopeia. Senkux couldn't do anything other than just hit the tanks right in front of him, and Splyce lose the fight. Again, it's all about execution.
Every single time, looking at the minimap, here's Perkz coming around the side with the blast code.
Yeah, the blast code in, they do not expect it, so he just catches them by surprise, and the shockwave there. It's just on to expect, and Mythy doesn't do anything against G2, and Sven was never really under any pressure. Splyce had the comp that could stop the backline of G2 from dealing damage, but it was Perkz with the flank engage to stop Splyce's backline.
To Fisher, you can only stop the backline when it is the backline. Perkz
He was in
became
the front line.
He managed to just face check Splyce, Baron empowered minions with 3 Dragon Elder. They now break open the base. Splyce is about to lose her inhibitor. The last game of the series, the first inhibitor to fall, and G2 aren't done yet. They're going to continue sieging top.
And it's one of those plays you just get from one of those superstar players that can decide the entire series. Again, it doesn't matter what happened earlier in this game. The fact you win that one fight gives you Elder Drake, gives you Baron buff. Can they now get all the inhibs down as well and make it super difficult for Splyce to keep defending?
And G2 get the glory and knock Splyce out at the quarterfinals. There's still 2 minutes left on this Baron. The upset was in the sight of Splyce. Mythy decides to go in. There's the Cataclysm. Locks down 3. The Gnaw comes out. Now that's a mini Gnaw. Cataclysm walls are dropped. Kobe has already used the Featherstorm. Petrifying Gaze onto Wonder. He's the target. A headbutt away from Mythy. The inhibitor number 2 now falls. G2 haven't found any kills, but they haven't lost any members. And they've got supers in 2 lanes. Look at the minions in the bottom lane. G2 can just swing around the corner. And they're going to buff them up. They want another inhib, Deficio.
I mean, why not? You still have the Baron buff with all the cannons down the bottom lane. Splyce trying to defend. Did not lose that last fight. Was actually an even trade. Trashy getting cocoon. TP coming in from Expect.
All right, Expect's going to finish it. He instantly uses the flag and drag to safety. It's a 3,000 gold lead. More importantly, it's super minions now making their way onto the steps of Splyce's base. G2 have got a minute left on Baron, so they're just going to keep playing this one for time, pushing Splyce further and further back. There's also a GA on Expect, so if he decides to go in, once that Cataclysm is back up, he just comes back to life.
Still no flash on Perkz' side, so he needs to be a bit careful. If he gets pillared, he can't really get away from it. Could set up an engage from Trashy with his flash on the Gragas here. G2 are still staying around. Splyce not finding the engage they are looking for. 2 inhibs gone. Last one right down the bottom lane. But again, Perkz, no flash. He is the target for Splyce.
Okay, Pillar of Ice is going to be very important if Mickey can find it. Wonder's got his teleport available. He was actually clearing the top wave just a moment ago. Miasma's going to buy some time. Tower takes a bunch of shots. Keep your eyes on Perkz and Expect. Mythy gets barreled back into the team. Unbreakable World's already used. Wonder gets tagged up. Wonder, no flash available to him. Pillar of Ice won't be enough to catch Perkz out.
Splyce needed Trashy on the other side in that fight. He needs to be a threat in front of the Cassiopeia. You can all in onto Perkz with Shockwave as well, and it will be hard for him to stay alive. Luckily though for G2, there are things like the Locket, try and keep Perkz here, and Knight's Vow as well.
Fisher with 5 hours and 40 minutes into the broadcast, and Splyce and G2 are 1 team fight away from a finished series and a spot in the semifinals, a guaranteed spot in Paris. And G2 are playing this very final siege very safely.
And they have to. They need the Summoner's Will's backup for the next fight. Elder Drake's gonna be dead for a while. Everyone kind of resets, and Splyce could have lost the entire game based on that fight, but they stay alive, and their composition can still win here in the late game. Gold doesn't matter anymore. Like, we are so close to just fully completed items on everyone's side. And once again, we have to highlight execution from the teams. Can Splyce, with the Gnar and the Gragas, reach the backline of G2? The Ashe and the Cassiopeia, no dashes, just one flash. With a shockwave on the back, a pillar from a trundle, the carries will die from G2. Or can they stay alive and either kite back and kill the front line of Splyce, or make a miracle flank like the one we saw from Perks? You normally don't get more than one of those per series.
You normally don't, but superstar players find them. Superstar players create those moments, Tificio. Let's see what Perks can do. Technically speaking, he's done less damage than Trick this series. This game, rather. So total damage to champions.
It's the Proto Belt hype.
It is the Proto Belt. Void Staff, Hourglass, Elise, of course, in Game 5. You get no early kills. You still only have 2 assists of your team's 11. But the threat alone has been pivotal.
So Mickey, obviously the Trundle, the classic Ardent Sensor build, where your Stormborn will apply the Earthen Rune, and therefore when people hit those targets after you pillar them, will apply the Ardent Sensor because it's a heal going on to you. So Kobe will benefit from that. And if Senkuk's gone for a Nash's Tooth build like Power Beaver, will also benefit a little bit from it, but not this time around.
No, instead Senkux has gone for the slightly more traditional.
Which I think is a very good idea.
I like
big
that
fan,
too.
big fan.
Let's see what happens now. Mythy has got his flash, looking at the rest of G2, all available. Same is true for Splyce. So Deficio, now that Splyce have got a pretty linear way to defend, just stand on your steps or stand in front of inhib. How did G2 get through that?
I mean, it's just win a team fight. Like, that literally is it. There should be no way to win this game for either team without taking down the other guys in their big 5-on-5 fight. I do not expect some random shenanigans with backdoors at the moment. This should just line up to a big 5-on-5 clash. Now, Baron is alive in 40 seconds. Splyce still pushed far back on the map. And they don't have a lot of vision around it, and you gotta respect the face check right now, this late in the game. If you lose one member, he's dead for a long time.
Yeah, and that could be the game. Top inhibitor will be respawning soon. Wonders there to catch that wave of super minions. And again, every time I see Mythy hiding around a corner, I just start getting nervous for Splyce. Ash Arrow eaten by Trashy in the face. Literally did not care.
I think Sven tried to force the ulti from Kobe, and then we could see an engage happen from Mythy after, when Kobe had no ulti here. But as Splyce with inhibs back alive, they're pushing out, and they actually will get some access to this Baron here. It won't just be gifted over to G2 Esports. We will get another fight around it.
All right, all of that vision that was set up by G2, you can see starting to dwindle, starting to get pushed back, and it will time out sooner or later. Mythy gets body slam, but look at the damage from Sven and Perks.
And this is what happens if G2's backline are allowed to sit and actually deal damage. If they do not get zoned away or comboed down by the shockwave, they can take down these tanks. That's why the kite back strategy is something that G2 can try to utilize. If they can't find a good flank, then they know they can just kill whatever is right in front of them.
Okay, a couple of pings onto G2 wards in and around the red buff. Teleport starting to be channeled from Expect. Splyce are now going to peel away, so Expect inside the red buff. Trick and the rest of G2 looking for the engage. There's a flank option available. Baron gets started. Expect is holding onto his combo for now. Mega Gnar is about to proc here for Wonder. Ash Arrow catches onto Trashy, but the Baron is already secured. Perk seems to be the target so far. Wonder's running for his life. Where's the damage? Featherstorm comes down. Nobody's dead yet. Cataclysm comes out. Blast Cone sends Senkux away from the fight. Mythy is zoning him. That's a double kill for Expect. A triple kill for Expect. Senkux is down. Senkux is killed, and G2 may have just won the series.
There was no early shockwave right there, and Mythy denied the engage from Splyce. Great team fight from G2 again. 4 members dead now for a minute on the side of Splyce.
Oh, G2 Esports win the team fight. Splyce have their head in their hands as the death timers are 50 seconds plus.
It came down to that one last team fight, and G2 Esports, they show the experience. They execute the last crucial one. They win the fight. It's only Mickey left alive, and that's not enough.
Not enough at all. Mickey is the target. Gets shut down by G2 Esports. And after a 5-game series, G2 yell their era is not over. G2 eSports defended all series long.
Oh, and this last game was just as close as some of the other big ones we've seen today. Splyce, they're looking at it being like, we had the lead, our comp was great, we could win the fights, but then they get outplayed by G2 eSports in the last key fights. And this is why G2 eSports have won so many LCS splits. And they're still looking for another one.
They're not done yet, Deficio. Semi-final showdown is set. G2 will face H2K, and Fnatic will face the Misfits. Sven is coming to yell and celebrate what is the first 5-game series G2 has ever participated in on the EU LCS stage, and they won it after 52.5 minutes.
Hey, if you gotta play in the quarterfinal, you also have to work for it. You gotta move your way towards that semifinal. You gotta deserve it. And after this series, where Splyce showed up big time, showed a much higher level than we expected, G2 had to really work for it. And in the end, they deserved to win. But man, this could have gone both ways.
Oh, this series, so possible for Splyce to finish. You can see the players on your screen, the reactions after that final fight.
They were so close, man.
Splyce performed phenomenally today, and they will appear in the regional qualifiers. What a level, but what heartbreak when you think this could have, maybe should have,
but they're not,
this series.
They're not done yet. If they play like this in the regional qualifier, then there's definitely a realistic shot of them making Worlds, and that is, of course, the end goal for them, seeing as they can no longer go to Paris and the final, which is what G2 eSports are moving towards, which means we get H2K versus G2 as one of our semifinals, and Fnatic Misfits is the other one.
I am extremely happy we got to cast that series, because coming into it, the general perception and expectation was that G2 were pretty clear favorites, 3-0, 3-1. A lot of people talking
about
what
the analysts said as well.
Hey, look, Splyce, they were going to show up. Nobody from the players and the team side are saying Splyce were going to get crushed. But for Splyce to perform this well and to almost take it with victory in grasp.
Oh, almost makes it worse for Splyce, but that's how it is in these games here. The fact that we got some of these individual plays from G2 in the last one, like the Perks flank, Mythy's zoning in the last fight, like it's those moments where these players step up that makes them win these late game fights.
I think you said it best, Deficio. This is where the superstar players define themselves, the reason they earn those titles. Both Mythy and Perks have phenomenal plays. And you know what? Expects engages as the game played out. He ended 7-3-7 on that Jarvan. It was a first pick. It worked really well for Expects.
Jarvan, very successful today. Managed to win every single game. And teams have been saying, like, first pick that Jarvan straight away. And we saw, again, why a lot of these teams favor a champion like that, because it's so good in this tank meta. It's so good at these engages. And it worked wonders for Expect in this one after a lot of back and forth.
Oh, such back and forth. So just to give you guys an update, we are setting up for the interview. And if any of the NALCS viewers are still with us, thank you so much. CLG will take on Envy over on NALCS 1. We still have an interview. We have some big plays to work through, as well as PGL. So anyways, if you missed any of the action in today's series, we will rebroadcast following this evening's NALCS quarterfinal. Stay tuned and watch Game 1 after. It is phenomenal. 50 minutes back and forth.
And then Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, and Game 5.
Screw it. Just do like 20 in a row.
Actually watch the whole thing.
Deficio, G2 took down Splyce after a very close fight. Let's go over to Dracos, who's ready with Perks and our player of the series.
Spoilers, Mythy, you got player of the series, and I think a lot of it was due to the Game 5. So tell me right now, what is running through your head? How are you feeling after such a close series against Splyce?
Relieved, I guess. I'm kind of disappointed in Game 5 because I missed a flash combo that would have ended the game really much faster. So yeah, I was a bit stressed out that I missed that, but I think I played a pretty good last team fight. So yeah, I'm happy for that.
And speaking of those moments, I mean, you had that clutch final team fight, but also you, Perks. This series, I think it's safe to say, was a little bit of a struggle for you. You got so much attention in the mid lane. That last game, the laning phase didn't go well. And then you come in behind a dragon on a blast cone to turn around a fight. How do you have the confidence to do that after struggling so much in the early game?
Honestly, this was like the worst series of my life, I think. I don't know what happened. I feel like just my day was, like my focus was just off. I was playing really bad in the early games, game 1, 3, and 4. And I was like costing my team. Actually, the game with Corky, I lost the game alone. And the other games, I was just, I was getting attention, but like I could have played so much better, and I'm really disappointing myself. But there was like so many thoughts actually going through my head, but I was just trying to focus and center on the present, and then I just went full no regrets and flash every time I have flash up, and and if Mitty didn't int it once, he would have won the game faster. But.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my God. Okay, you guys are coming into this so positive, but you're talking about like the tension in the game. We heard from the desk as well that sometimes Perks, maybe Sven as well, you guys can be emotional players. After that game one, were you guys worried at all? Did you think even for a second that we would have been going to a game 5?
I don't think we're emotional players at all, honestly. Like, yeah, not really. I think we are probably the least emotional team of all the teams that are in the LCS, I would say. So, yeah.
I mean, it definitely showed in the consistency that you found there. Now, coming into this series, what did your prep look like to go toe-to-toe with Splyce? Because we look at their last week of games and not a whole lot that you can pull from there. So were you prepping internally, like just looking at what G2 can do better, or were you trying to figure out what Splyce would bring to the table as well?
Yeah, we were definitely just looking at what we can do better. We had no idea what Splyce likes to play. There's a new patch too, and Senkox is known to play cheesy stuff, so we actually expected him to play Malzahar and stuff, and he ended up playing meta champions. I think it's the first time I ever see Senkox and Orianna, honestly. So, it was not what we expected, and I think they did pretty good drafts. I don't think we adapted in the second phase of the drafts good enough. Like in the first game, we should have either banned Morgana or banned Camille, and then in one game where they had like the Jarvan, Rakan, Orianna combo, we could have won, but we were still playing like champions that were not really on our comfort because they basically denied us the mage matchup because it would just die to that combo. So I think they caught us a little bit off guard, and we were able to adapt quite okay, but I think we just made some mistakes. I don't think we played bad. I think they played quite good. But yeah, I think we made some mistakes ourselves.
We did see some improvement coming in from Splyce. At least I felt like. Perks, I know you've been very critical of your own performance in this series, but what was your impression of Senkox this series? It felt like he played much better than at least I would have expected looking at the regular season.
I think he played really well. Like overall, he didn't do many mistakes, and he was always equal on lane, trading priority with me, pushing in, getting pushed in, and he was just playing well in team fights, well on the map. I think he played really well.
Yeah, and it's good to hear that you can acknowledge that now moving forward. Once again, you're critical of your own performance. What now do you do in the week before you have to go toe-to-toe with H2K? What do you do in preparation? How do you regain that focus? How do you regain that composure coming into your next series?
Well, honestly, I was just not very confident in the drafts and what I can prepare, and some stuff that we played today. Some stuff we practiced a lot, but some stuff we didn't really play much against. And it's a new patch, so I didn't really know what to prioritize on mid lane so much. I came up with some idea myself, but also I just have to focus on my own play. And yeah, that's mostly it.
All right. Well, Mithy, in terms of what you guys have learned about the patch, I know that there were a lot of changes to mid lane, but it feels like some changes just across the board. Do you feel like you guys now have a more developed understanding after playing it on stage, not just scrimming it? Do you feel like maybe we will see an improved G2 coming into the match against H2K next week?
Pretty sure we will pick up 1 or 2 more mid lane picks, and other than that, I'd probably see the same G2. I don't know, bot lane is so strange because normally when I go into playoffs, I tell myself, okay, you're going to play these 4 champions, and then I just stick to them and play to my best. But this split, I decided that, I don't know, I had like a huge motivation urge, so I've been playing more solo queue than, I'm playing the same amount of solo queue I played when I was in Lemon Dogs, so I'm not really sure what's going on, but I just feel very, very comfortable with my own play, and I can just play every champion right now, so bot lane we can play everything, and I think it's gonna go very well for us, like the more we play in this patch, because all of my teammates just are willing to pick up every champ and play it very well, so yeah.
It's good to hear that confidence, that commitment to improvement from both of you, but I have to ask, because this is the first year you've been in the quarterfinals, this is the first time I've seen G2 taken to a game 5 in a playoffs ever, right? And so I'm wondering, do you feel like this is the weakest G2 has been going into playoffs?
Well, I don't think this is necessarily the week, because G2 has been going into playoffs. Just before, we were always in the bye, so we'd always see what other teams would play. And we are really, really good at adapting to other teams, like even in the series or just seeing what they do, their pathing, their the champions they play, their play. So like every player has his tendencies, and we are just good at reading them and learning like how to play against them. This is the first time we had to play quarterfinals. Honestly, it's just insane pressure too. You can't like. I had to stop myself from thinking about what if I lose now, you know, like what if I lose in quarterfinals after winning splits for 3 splits in a row. So this has just been like a huge shock for me, like personally, and it can only go upwards from here. Like, yeah, we're gonna pick it up.
All right, Mithy, you feeling the same level of confidence moving forward for G2?
I mean, I stick to what I said. I think we're going to win that whole thing. This doesn't change anything.
All right, it's good to hear the confidence. Congrats again on your Game 5 win over Splyce, gentlemen, in the series in the quarterfinals. Good luck to you again in your series against H2K next week. For now, though, we're going to send it back to the casters to take a look at some dope plays from earlier in the week.
Thank you, Raj. Very